Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks with another tutorial for SylenthTutorials.com. First, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please sign up at youtube.com/ADSR Tuts, that's TUTS. So today's video is going to be a tip and trick style tutorial. I'm going to be answering a couple questions that came through from some various Sylenth tutorials that I've done, and they were focused around I didn't necessarily do a tutorial on how to make like the stereotypical quintessential main room, big room, lead style drop, but some questions with some demos that I may have used that sound with were, how do you get it to sound full, and what are you doing inside of Sylenth to kind of make that happen? Well, I went through and made a couple different big room sounds and just saw what worked, what didn't work, and I kind of have this bullet point list of things you can do, really simple things in Sylenth to make your main room, big room drop sounds a little bit fuller and have it sit a little bit more on top of the mix. So right now I have a really simple progression worked up. It's just a bass, a tuned kick drum, and some offbeat percussion, and this lead, of course, in Sylenth. So let's listen to this real quick. All right, and save for some reverb and sidechain compression. I don't have any third-party processing on this, so it's all happening pretty much inside of the synth. Well, something that I needed to do for this tutorial was throw on the LFO tool or some sidechain compression, because it wouldn't. You need to see how this first tip and trick works and reacts to the sidechain compression. So the first thing you need to be aware of when you're trying to do that type of progression where you're maybe just playing one or two notes over and over and there's some space and things like that, you need to give your release a higher time than normal, I would say, on most leads, because the LFO tool or your sidechain compression, whatever you're using, needs to have something to grab and fill out that empty space. So right now, if I turn off the LFO tool and just play a note, to hear how long that rings out, there's a lot of release to this sound. Well, if I turn this release down, not so anymore. Well, it just so happens that the sidechain compression needs to grab that release to kind of fill in over the gaps of the notes that you aren't playing, or when you're leaving your little syncopated rhythmic gaps. So that's the first thing that you need to be conscious of when you're doing these big room, main room style leads inside of Sylenth. The second is your filtering and how you're controlling the filter. I found that with every sound I made, and I made 3 of them just trying to figure this out, the cutoff filter needs to be modulated with the modulation envelope 1 or 2. It allows for a much tighter and more controlled sound. So let me turn this off and we'll listen to the exact same sound that we just had. Let me turn the filter up to compensate for that difference, and I'll even leave the release where it is, but let's listen. Right, so that doesn't have that type of sound, and that's because the filter, the cutoff frequencies coming through the filter are just too much, and it's overtaking the sound, especially with that high release point. Well, if I turn off the LFO tool and do that, it's going to be even worse. That sounds awful. I didn't know it would sound that bad, but yeah. So you need to modulate your filter control, your filters with this modulation envelope. So let me choose cutoff A and B here, and then just boost this a little bit and start to boost your decay. And then turn off your cutoff. So to bring in more frequencies, I can turn up this rotary knob here, or turn up the decay. Right, and this is going to be one way that you need to kind of look at this is there's no, I guess, golden rule setting for this. It kind of depends on how you're playing your lead drop. So you can see here that I have a lot of notes, right? It's pretty machine gunny at certain points. So I need to have something that plays off of that and actually makes that feel stronger. So you can see I'm just toying around with that decay, a little bit of the sustain and release there on the modulation envelope, trying to find that sweet spot where it kind of coincides with my progression. So what I would typically do is just get that short stabby sound, play it, and then I would tweak the amp envelope and this modulation envelope that's modulating my cutoff A and B, or cutoff A depending on how you have your sound set up. But that will typically get you there. And then finally, the last thing you can do, and this is outside of Sylenth, you can do this in Sylenth, but I like doing it with a third-party plugin, is gated or rhythmic delays. If you don't have this delay plugin, I would suggest checking it out, or check out Valhalla DSP. They have some great plugins. But this comes with the Vengeance Effects Suite 2, I think, Producer Suite 2 or something like that. I don't even know the proper name, but comes with 12 or 13 plugins, don't quote me on that, and it's a great tool set for EDM producers, but has this really awesome sync where I can sync the pre-delay to any note value I want. I don't have to do math like you typically have to do in a lot of reverbs out there, but what it does is it gives a little bit more pumping sound for that LFO or sidechain compression to really grab and kind of make this thing pump. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't checked out sylenthtutorials.com, head on over there. Tons of cool things Sylenth related. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.